Hi, this is Andy Walters. I'm going to take you through my research here on Montessori education model. And I picked this one after watching a lot of the videos and doing a lot of the text, just because I thought it was something that could easily be adapted for uh, me who teaches sixth grade. And I liked a lot of the things that it presented, even though it's, obviously for early childhood or early elementary. I saw a lot of things that I thought were really applicable to things that I do in middle school as well. So, just a few things from our learning that we did during the lessons and the different activities that were there. The video we watched brought forth these three main ideas in the Montessori education. It began with observing or following the child, and they're doing this to try and figure out really what interests the child and what the child likes to do, instead of trying to provide them with what you think they would like to do. It gives the kid or the children the opportunity to try to figure out those things on their own, and then you as the adult or the teacher who's in the room, you kind of foster that and help push them in that direction. Next one was practical life, and it was talking about how they don't want to give any unnecessary aid. Basically, they want to allow the kids to try and learn and process and problem solve on their own and figure out how to work through things and figure out why things work the way they do. Obviously, if they're struggling or have a hard time with something, they need to step in and provide some assistance. But um, allowing the individual kid to figure out, how do I get through this? How do I figure this out? And I thought that was a really cool idea and something that for me applies to obviously stuff that I do in science as well. And then the last one was freedom within limits. And this is where kids are really given a lot of freedom to choose what goes on in their day and their routine. Um, Obviously, they'll have jobs or roles, but they kind of get to choose what they want to do in that. And um, if they find it something interesting, they are allowed to be part of that. Like, maybe they help with kids, working on specific things, or maybe they want to help clean something or whatever they want to do. Obviously, it's not just complete freedom, but they do have some choice in how their day goes. So that's kind of the general things we learned from, or I learned from the initial things. Just some other things going forward. Next one here, benefits of the Montessori model. Probably the coolest thing I saw and the best thing that was coming from it was that the children are learning independently. They are really pushed to become someone who wants to learn, and it's valued that they have learning going on. And so a lot of times they can learn very independently and learn things on their own, and can push themselves to want to learn more. A second thing I learned from some of the research is the value is placed on each child being unique. So it allows even kids who have differences to thrive in this situation and this type of model. And that uniqueness is actually valued and encouraged to, explore that uniqueness. Third one, which I touched on briefly already, children are encouraged to be seekers of knowledge, kind of goes along with the independent one. But it's not just, this you're going to learn this because I want you to learn. It's we need to learn it, and you can learn it how you want to learn it. But helping kids push to that deeper understanding on their own gives them that, not just surfacey learning. It makes them really, that doesn't make them, but it allows them to really grow and learn really deeply what's actually being shown or explained. Fourth one there, strong social emotional learning. Students definitely learn how to think independently. Students definitely learn how to deal with their emotions. They make a lot of choices on their own. They're not dependent on others or the adult. Obviously, they're dependent on the adult for some, but they don't have tons of dependence on others around them. They learn to figure out things out. They learn those their own emotional needs. They learn how to deal with those emotional needs. and be an advocate for themselves. So I think that was another great aspect of the Montessori model. Last one and this is big in education, is the inclusion of special needs children, and getting those students in a non-restrictive environment. And this Montessori model allows that to happen and allows students of special needs to be able to learn at their own pace, learn the way that they want to learn. It's not restricting them in the way that we're not forcing them into learning a certain way, but it allows them to learn in many different ways, and makes it easier for them to really blend in and fit in with their peers without feeling like they're ostracized or different in some way, because a lot of the kids are learning independently and are learning differently anyways. All right, the next one, the implementation into U.S. schools. For me, I saw that this was definitely something that I think would be an easier implementation into a preschool setting. Obviously, as you get older, I think it becomes much more difficult, especially getting into higher and higher in elementary, and then even beyond. Just limitations and restrictions a lot of schools have on curriculum and guidelines and standards. I think it becomes more and more challenging as you progress through education. It would be a very difficult and complete change, I think, for a lot of schools to be able to implement this model completely. And it would be difficult for kids to be able to meet all those standards. It would have to be very well planned out and very well structured to still be able to reach and meet the state standards of what needs to be learned based off of what the standards say. I do see some positives and some things from it. The second little star there says giving students freedom of choice in their learning. I think this is a great thing for a lot of teachers that they do, and giving those students that choice in their learning. So again, students must still meet the standards, but when the teacher can give the student choice, it gives them that much more authenticity and that much more buy into what they're learning. So for me, looking at it from a middle school teacher, I've done choice menus in the past, like a tic-tac-toe menu or a point menu, where the students are doing some different various activities where they're learning or learning and creating, I guess, things on their own, and they have some choice in that freedom. So definitely something that I can see the Montessori thing is positive on, and something that can be worked on in middle school as well. Problem-based learning, giving the students some type of problem and having them figure out what's going on in that problem in their own way is definitely another thing that I can see a tie-in that would be beneficial from what we see with the Montessori school. And then Genius Hour, that's basically where kids get an hour a day or an hour a week that they can research and do whatever they want. Obviously, they've got to do some type of research, but I think the Genius Hour definitely, the idea of that comes from the roots of Montessori, where they have their choice and they've got their freedom and they can kind of study and learn what they want. So having those three things in a middle school setting could definitely benefit students. And for me, I think they're things that I've done in the past and still do some, but definitely can do better at. And after seeing the impact of the Montessori school, I think it's something I definitely want to bring back in and get better at as a teacher myself. So some recommendations and takeaways. First of all children or students can benefit from the freedom and choice provided in the Montessori model. I think it's a great thing to give kids choice and give them that freedom to figure out what they want to do and what they like. Second one, children and students develop discipline and self-motivation. This is huge in this model, and really gives kids confidence as they learn and develop on their own and figure out how to do things on their own. And the last one there, self-paced or self-guided learning allows students to grow when they are ready, so they can go as deep as they want, or they don't have to go deep if they don't want to, but it does give them that choice to be able to learn and grow kind of at their own pace. So just real quick, my sources here of where I got my information from, some things offline, and then obviously our video we watched for our lesson. Thanks.